Welcome, Power Learners! Today we're going to explore density through 5 different materials: food coloring, oil, water, 2 cups, and a fork. The picture that you see is what our experiment looked like in the middle of it. So now, let's begin.
For this experiment, you would need a clear glass filled with water almost to the top, another glass with 2 tablespoons of oil and a few drops of food coloring, and a fork. First, take the fork and stir the oil and the food coloring together. Do this until your food coloring has fully separated into tiny little droplets. Your oil and your food coloring should look like this. I've put blue food coloring, so that's why it looks a bit, it's very dark, the little droplets. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to pour our mixture into our glass filled with water. So when you keep it in for a while, it should start doing this. So it's the food coloring is lowering into the water. Keep watching to see what happens after it starts to drop for a little bit. So as you can see, after it starts to drip into the water for a little bit, it kind of expands like fireworks.
So now let's start thinking about why our experiment worked. Why did this happen in the water? So what are the densities of the materials we used? I'm going to look at the main materials that we used for the experiment. Obviously, the density of the fork and our cups don't really matter as much as our water, food coloring, and oil. So the density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cubed, and food coloring is around the same, and oil is around 0.91 grams per centimeter cubed, meaning that our oil is less dense than water. So why did the food coloring explode, or it didn't actually explode, but why did it kind of open up after it was in the water for a while? So when the food coloring is in the oil, it starts to drop after a while because it's very dense. I mean, much more dense than oil. Not much more, but denser than oil. So then it's starting to go in the water because oil and food coloring have similar densities, maybe even denser because it has color in it too. So when it's dropping, it doesn't immediately get rid of all its oil. It still has a little oil with it. So as it goes, oil is being taken out of the food coloring, off of the food coloring. So then once all the oil is gone, it's not in just a circle because oil doesn't react well with water. So once the oil is gone, the food coloring is able to dissolve in the water, or spread out in the water. So when all the oil comes off, the food coloring is not in a little shell anymore. So that's when it explodes. So this is how our experiment worked.